What's going on? Welcome to Tech with Sean, and today we're going to take a look at my emulator setup for arcade games. So if you watched my recent videos, you saw us put together some custom fight sticks, and these use a Mayflash F500 V2, and I threw in some custom buttons and art. Then we have a Dell Optiplex computer as the base of this thing, and then the monitor, I actually snagged a CRT. This is a 19-inch NEC CRT, and I found this up at RePC. It's a used computer store outside Seattle. They actually had a Mitsubishi Diamondtron, but it was an older model, and it was like curved and only 17 inches, and I had them both hooked up side by side, and I think this looked better than the older Diamondtron. This was made in 2005, so it's one of the later CRTs. And even though it doesn't have the same type of aperture grill mask and stuff, I think that the Trinitrons do, it still puts out a really vivid picture. Also, while I was up there at RePC for the sound, I snagged this 495 sound bar that's meant to clip into a Dell monitor, but I'm just running it off USB. And it's not magnetically shielded, people, so if you get one of these, you don't want to have it up here, or I guess, you know, it's going to add some funky colors in case you like that stuff, but you'll have to degauss it. Alright, for the front end here, I'm using Launchbox, and I did get the Pro version, so I'm able to use the big box mode, and I have it set up so Windows just boots right into this, and you can control this directly with the joystick. If you want to, you can even go out, you can shut the computer down, reset it, do various stuff. So I do have a keyboard up here, a little wireless job, so if I need to Alt-Tab out into Windows and do something, I can. But I can run the whole thing for emulation, start to finish, with just this. Now we have a bunch of games on here, and they're from all types of different systems and cabinets. So they run at all sorts of different resolutions, and so instead of going through and running everything at a fixed resolution, I'm just running it at the native resolution and letting RetroArch scale. The only downfall with that is you don't get scanlines, so I am using a filter. It's called the Resolution Independent Scanline Filter, and I'll tell you what, I have a Trinitron TV that's 480i for retro gaming, and it's almost indistinguishable. Trying to run everything at a fixed resolution, though, I ran into problems with vertical games. It was, you know, like taking them and stretching them across the whole screen, and I had to nitpick the settings for everything, and it just ended up being way less of a headache to go ahead and run it at 1280 by 1024 and then use a scanline filter. I'll load something up, though. You're going to be amazed at how good this looks on this CRT. Do one of my favorites, Samurai Shodown 3. I really like the front end you get on the big box mode. You do have to pay for it, but I'm definitely going to use it in some other builds going forward. The Sam Show games are great. There's so many good Neo Geo games. But check out how crisp that looks on that CRT. I'm gonna get destroyed out here. I'm playing with one hand as I hold the camera, so prepare to see me get defeated. Oh, my dog ain't gonna be able to save me today. This game has great background animation too. A lot of these Neo Geo games do. Well, maybe not animation. It's not like technical animation, but they have really good art style and charm, I'll say that. But yeah, it runs really well. It looks really good. It sounds good. And I also have this set up so down here, this button is basically like the escape key in RetroArch. So I can double tap that. It quits out of the game, and it'll take me back into the front end. So then I can just go right back into the list and pick the next thing. Let's see. Now, one of these games that was giving me problems at the fixed resolution, this was one of them. And it's a skinny vertical screen. And so when I had the fixed resolution, I was taking this and stretching it across the whole monitor. And it looked pretty terrible. So this and some cave games, I tried like, I think Dodonpachi and Mushihime-sama. And both of those looked really bad also, but changing the RetroArch settings back to the monitor's resolution and then letting it scale did the job. The only problem with that was, yeah, you lose the scan lines, but adding them back in with that filter was pretty decent in my view. Arcade games are so fun though. I've been playing all sorts of garbage on here. Well, that's like way too hard to even attempt while holding a camera. Let's see. What can I do while holding a camera? I can run the Ninja Turtles Attract mode. How about that? That's a classic. But yeah, I've been playing just like all sorts of random weird games on here. William Sessions. Is he related to Jeff Sessions? I hope not. But yeah, this is a... Nothing says 90s like Ninja Turtles, the arcade game. But, oh yeah, one thing, when I went over the system before when I built those sticks, I was talking about this Optiplex, and it had the GTX 1650 in there. So, some weird stuff with the 1650. Trying to hook up the CRT, the 1650 doesn't have VGA. The only thing this has is VGA. So my 2080 Ti PC, it also doesn't have VGA. None of the cards after the 9 series do. So I used a DisplayPort to VGA adapter on my 2080 Ti, and that worked fine. I played like Red Dead Redemption 2 on the CRT, a bunch of different stuff. It was actually pretty cool. But then I had adapters also for DVI and HDMI to VGA, and when I hooked them up to the CRT monitor, they would run for like 10 seconds and then start flashing on and off. And I don't know, I couldn't change to any resolution or refresh rate that it seemed to support, and I don't know if like it was trying to draw too much power from the low profile card or what the deal was. But I absolutely could not find any way to get the video from the 1650 to this that would actually work. So what I did was actually totally take out the 1650, and actually this is a different Optiplex. This is a i5 system with no graphics card in it, so I'm just running this on integrated graphics, and it's just hooked right up to the VGA port on the Dell motherboard. So the downfall with that is I'm not going to be able to play stuff like Soul Calibur on that, but really those games wouldn't be very well suited to a lower resolution non-widescreen display anyway. So I think that going the lower graphics route but focusing this fully on the retro gaming with the CRT display is really more the experience I wanted to get anyway. But overall, I mean, the sticks weren't very expensive. The Dell Optiplex was going to be recycled, so it was basically free. I found the monitor for 25 bucks, and I found the soundbar for $5. So for a pretty low investment, it's probably actually cheaper than an arcade 1-up machine. I have like all sorts of games loaded up on here for 2 players, and you know, if I see some game in the future that I want to try, I can just drop it in there. It has the pretty good speaker. Let me crank these up. There you go. Pizza power! But yeah, for about the price of one Arcade 1-Up machine, it's like getting all of the Arcade 1-Up machines basically, and you can mix and match it with whatever games you're into. You know, if you want to remap buttons, if you want to do whatever you want, man, it's a computer. So, yeah, thanks for watching along, y'all. If you have any interest in doing something like this, I would totally recommend it because it was not that hard to do. Really, the hardest part was probably setting up the emulator in RetroArch, and that's just because I'm not used to it. Once I got that figured out, it was really pretty straightforward, setting up the plugins and everything. And the experience of just being able to sit down right next to your friend and have at it in some fighting games, you know? Or, you know, test yourself in some crazy shmups that you've never heard of, or just, you know, fun diversions. That's the best part about arcade games. You can just kind of get in, get out, get a taste of them, and move on to the next one. Or if you find one that's like the game for you, then you can really stay at it and master it. It's kind of a whole different beast than console gaming, and that's really one of the reasons I wanted to check this out. Alright y'all, thanks for watching along on this little arcade emulation experiment. I had fun putting it together and I'm really happy with the result. If you have any suggestions or, you know, comments, or if you might want to do something like this yourself, drop a comment down below. And yeah, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.